Tata, the brand that established in the hearts of 1 billion people. Tata Group was established in 1868, after more than a century, it has become one of the largest industrial empires of the world. In over 150 years, this brand sells everything from salt to services in IT industry. Today we will discuss how Tata achieved this wonder. It was in the year 1868, 29 years old Jamsetji Tata starts a trading company, with a capital of 21,000 rupees. The early beginnings of what would one day become the Tata Group. His father was an exporter in Mumbai. Tata worked in his father's company before he started his own. Using the money made from his trading company, he started building textile mills of his own. In 1874, Tata establishes a textile mill in Nagpur, named Empress Mill. Empress Mills was the oldest and the largest composite textile mill the country has ever had. Many of the employee welfare schemes that seen in modern India were introduced by Tata in his factories at that time. This includes 8-hour working days, safe workspaces, provident fund, leave with pay and gratuity. In his textile mills, Tata introduced the apprentice system at work, primary classes for children of women mill workers, and free medical help to all employees. Other benefits for the well-being of his staff that were weaved into the policies of several of his propitious ventures included gratuitous pension fund, maternity benefit allowance and a compensation fund for accidents for all employees, all of which were ahead of their times. Next, Tata entered into hotel business, by opening the Taj Mahal Palace, a hotel overlooking the Arabian Sea, in 1903. It was the first Taj property and the first Taj hotel. Later it becomes a chain of luxury hotels. The hotel is considered one of the finest hotels in the East, since the time of the British Raj. Taj hotels now operate a total of 100 hotels, and hotel resorts, with 84 across India and 16 in other countries. After the death of Jamsetji in 1904, many of his dreams come true through his two sons Dorabji Tata and Ratanji Tata. His elder son Dorabji Tata became the chairman in 1904. Sir Dorabji established the Tata Iron and Steel Company in 1907, now known as Tata Steel. Tata Steel has now become one of the world's largest steel-producing companies. Jamsetji Tata was convinced that national resurgence was only possible through multi-level industrialization, higher education and scientific research. For providing higher education to students, he has donated a major share of his wealth. The Indian Institute of Science was established in Bangalore, in 1911, with the active support from Tata and Krishna Raja Wadiyar, and thus is also locally known as the Tata Institute. The Indian Institute of Science has produced Nobel laureates, trained many of India's greatest scientists, and helped to nurture some of the country's finest scientific institutions. In 1917 the group makes its consumer space debut, with Tata Oil Mills Company, known for popular soap brands, Harmam, and Moti. It was sold to Hindustan Unilever. Later in 1984, Tata believed that clean, cheap and abundant power is one of the basic ingredients for the economic progress of a city, state or country. Thus Tata Power was born in 1919. Now Tata Power, together with its subsidiaries and joint entities, has a generation capacity of 12,742 megawatts, of which 30% comes from clean energy sources. Sir Ratanji Tata passed away in 1918, at the age of 48, leaving behind all his wealth, to be used for the betterment of society. Thus the Sir Ratan Tata Trust and allied trusts was set up in accordance with his will. The Sir Ratan Tata Trust is one of the oldest philanthropic institutions in India, and has played a pioneering role in changing traditional ideas of charity. Like his respected father and brother, Sir Dorabji believed that one must make use of the wealth one had acquired for constructive purposes. So, in 1932, after his wife Mayabai's death, he donated all his wealth to the trust, insisting that it must be used without any distinction of place, nationality or creed, for the advancement of learning and research, the relief of distress and other charitable purposes. He died 3 months later. It was Sir Dorabji Tata Trusts who set up India's pioneer institutes such as Tata Institute of Social Sciences in 1936, Tata Memorial Centre for Cancer Research and Treatment in 1941 and Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in 1945. The turning point in Tata's journey happened in 1938 when a 34 years old Jahangir Ratanji Dadabhai Tata took the leadership of the company. He is commonly known as J.R.D. Tata, and became the chairman of Tata Sons, the parent company, in 1938. He continued expansion of the company into new sectors. His father was the first cousin of Jamsetji Tata. J.R.D. joined the Tata Group as an intern in 1925 at the age of 22. Soon after his father passed away, he joined the board of Tata Sons, the group's flagship company. When J.R.D. Tata was in tour, he was inspired by his friend's father, pioneer Louis Blériot, the first man to fly across the English Channel, and took to flying. On the 10th of February 1929, Tata obtained the first pilot license issued in India. He later came to be known as the father of Indian civil aviation. He founded India's first commercial airline, Tata Airlines, in 1932, which became Air India in 1946, now India's national airline. The group's rapid business expansion continues with the establishment of Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company. Founded in 1945 as a manufacturer of locomotives, the company manufactured its first commercial vehicle in 1954, in a collaboration with Daimler-Benz AG, which ended in 1969. After years of dominating the commercial vehicle market in India, Tata Motors entered the passenger vehicle market in 1991 by launching the Tata Sierra, a multi-utility vehicle. By 2003, Telco was rechristened as Tata Motors. In 1952, Tata launches India's first cosmetics brand, Lakme. Lakme started as a subsidiary of Tata Oil Mills. It was started in 1952 famously because then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru was concerned that Indian women were spending precious foreign exchange on beauty products, and personally requested J.R.D. Tata to manufacture them in India. Thus Lakme was established. Later it was sold to Hindustan Unilever, along with Tomco, in 1984. Voltas, another successful Tata venture, was incorporated in 1954, and is jointly promoted by Switzerland's Volkart Brothers and Tata Sons. As India's largest air conditioning company, Voltas is also one of the most reputed engineering solution providers, specializing in project management. India's first software services company, Tata Consultancy Services, was established in 1968. TCS Limited is a leading global IT services consulting and business solutions organization. Today, it is a truly global enterprise with a presence in 46 countries. TCS alone contributes about 70% dividends of its parent company, Tata Sons. TCS is the first Indian software company to cross $1 billion in revenues. The group clocks another win as Titan Industries, a joint venture with the Tamil Nadu Industrial Development Corporation, makes a splash in a watch-starved market. With an eye on an evolving market, Titan launches Raga to tap into the women's watch segment. Fastrack was launched in 1998 as a sub-brand of Titan watches. In 2005, Fastrack was spun off as an independent brand targeting the urban youth and growing fashion industry in India. With the launch of Tanishq, the retail brand brings transparency and reliability to an unorganized sector. Tanishq has emerged as India's fastest growing jewelry brand. Under the chairmanship of J.R.D. Tata, the assets of the Tata Group grew from $100 million to over $5 billion. He started with 14 enterprises under his leadership, and half a century later, on the 26th of July 1988, when he left, Tata Sons was a conglomerate of 95 enterprises, which they either started or in which they had controlling interest. In 1969, Indian government introduced monopolies and restrictive trade practices. This act was enacted to make sure that wealth was not accumulated in hands of very few people. This led Tata Sons to considerably reduce their share in subsidiaries. JRD feels losing control of his companies. He appointed Ratan Tata to overcome this situation. Ratan Tata joins Tata Group in 1962. He is one of Jamsetji's great-grandsons. In 1991, Ratan Tata was made chairman of Tata Group. This was also the year of economic liberalization in India, opening up the market to foreign competitors. This move was a threat to Tata, as they had to compete to international companies. His first focus was to restore the control which had lost due to Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Act. To attain control over subsidiaries, he sells 20% of shares of Tata Sons, the holding company, to buy shares of Tata subsidiaries. To compete against international companies, he started acquiring them so that he can acquire their technology, which would eventually help him to strengthen his business and to expand Tata business internationally. Acquisitions done by Tata Tea was one of the largest overseas acquisitions by an Indian company in early 2000. Tata Tea, now Tata Global Beverages, acquires the iconic, the 160-year-old, British Tetley Group. It is the largest tea company in the United Kingdom and Canada, and the second largest in the United States. The acquisition has helped Tata's business ambitions to hold a global tea company. Another important acquisition happened in 2004. Tata Motors acquired Daewoo's South Korea-based truck manufacturing unit, Daewoo Commercial Vehicles Company, later renamed to Tata Daewoo. One of the greatest acquisitions done by Tata was purchasing the European steel titan, Chorus, for $12 billion in 2007. It is Europe's second largest steel producer, serving construction, automotive, packaging and engineering industries. In 2010 renamed to Tata Steel Europe. The enlarged Tata Steel now thus became world's fifth largest steel producer, with 84,000 employees across 4 continents. In 2008, Tata Motors acquired the British carmaker Jaguar Land Rover, manufacturer of the Jaguar, Land Rover and Daimler luxury car brands, from Ford Motor Company for $2 billion. Tata Motors reinvigorated Jaguar Land Rover, from its depreciating value and dwindling sales figures, to one of the biggest and the most successful automotive brands in the UK. After more than a century, Tata has changed from an Indian brand to an international brand. It has now become the only Indian brand within the top 100 most valuable brands in the world. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe the channel for more interesting videos.